I'm going to give you a brief overview today of what a narcissist is and how to know if you are in a narcissistic relationship. I've had many people come to me saying that they haven't been in narcissistic relationships, but they think it's great that I'm putting out this information and this content. And then a lot of times they will come to work with me. And when we get to the root of a lot of their issues, they were in narcissistic relationships. They just didn't know what it was called. They didn't realize it. And a lot of the times, too, it was in friendships. It was with a coworker. It was with a boss. But narcissistic relationship dynamics are happening all around you. I actually read in a study that 1 in 5 people, which is a huge amount, are actually narcissists. So you are surrounded by them all day long. You can't really escape them. The thing with it is why it's not common knowledge is because it's really hard to study narcissists. A lot of them are not really that willing to admit that they have a problem. They don't realize that they have an issue. So it's really hard to study someone and do research on somebody who doesn't think that they have a problem. So, what I have learned through my own experiences with many narcissists and through working with hundreds and thousands of clients in narcissistic relationship dynamics is that there are a few certain characteristics that are the same between all of them. And the main thing that I have come to realize is that you want to look at how you feel around this person. Do you feel disempowered? Do you feel like you are not enough? Do you feel like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't? Do you feel like they are constantly criticizing you? Do you feel like there's these subtle jabs, even though they might not be saying something that bad, but you can feel the underlying truth behind some of the things that they're saying, even when they say that they are joking? Do you leave the conversation feeling like you should have said something different? You didn't say enough, you said too much, you are annoying, ultimately feeling like you are doubting yourself? These are the key things that you want to start to notice with your relationships. Again, it's not just romantic relationships. Do you have certain friendships where you walk away feeling this way? Do you feel this way when you leave work? Do you feel this way with your parents? Do you feel this way with a sibling? Start to notice how you feel. That's going to be the key thing that you want to really look at. Other thing that narcissistic people do is that they use certain different tactics and techniques. There's kind of these buzzwords when we think about narcissistic relationships, but I want to take the mystery away from them and kind of explain a few things. One of the main things that they do is called gaslighting. Gaslighting is basically denying your reality or making you feel crazy for something that you know happened, or calling them out on something that they did or something that they didn't do. They then try to make you seem like you're making it up, you're crazy. Where did you hear that? That never happened. What are you talking about? The term comes from, there was this doctor who was dating a beautiful, kind woman, and he would distort her reality. There were these street lights that were filled with gas. They were lit up, and she saw them and she made a comment about them, and he tried to make her feel crazy that they didn't actually exist. There wasn't actually any gas or any fire. And so then she believed it. And that's what they do. They try to make you deny your own reality, your own experience, to the point where then you feel like something's wrong with you or you're going crazy. And that's one of the main ways that they have power and control over you and get you to stay in these certain relationships. Another tactic that is common is called stonewalling, where you're reacting or you're feeling angry, you're feeling upset, and they are not responding to you. And it's causing this anger, this reaction to grow and build within you. And they purposely are not feeding you any attention or any validation to it until the point then where you react and you respond. And that's a tactic too. They are always trying to get some kind of trigger, some kind of response out of you so that they can point their finger and blame you. Look, you're crazy. You're the one who has the issues, so that it takes away from what they are actually doing. Something you'll notice in narcissistic relationships is a lot of times they stay the victim. You might come to them being upset about something that they did, and they will take no accountability, no responsibility, or even apologize for what they did. They will always try to find a way where you are the reason why they are doing that, or this is all of your issue. And they think that you should actually be apologizing. With a normal, healthy person, they would apologize, they would acknowledge your issues, even if you can get to the point where you can agree to disagree. A narcissist is not going to back down. They're going to make sure that you are the one that needs to be apologizing and you are the one who did something wrong. These relationships can be so damaging because they can appear so charming and so amazing and so cool to other people around you, even your friends and your family. They can really win them over so that then when you come to them with all of these issues, they don't necessarily believe you or they don't see it. What's also really hard with these relationships is usually you are trying to do your best to please this person or to win this person's love, and you are trying to convince yourself and do whatever you can to get this person to fully love you and see you and accept you, and you try to make the relationship work because you think that there's something that you are doing wrong or that you are the problem, and if you just hold on longer and if you just try more, that they are going to shift, they are going to change. So even in front of friends and family members, you make it seem like your relationship is going amazing and everything is great. And this is what makes it so hard when you're trying to leave this relationship or say the issues that you're having. Nobody else sees it, nobody believes it because they've only seen the good things about this person. When people are not in a romantic relationship with a narcissistic person or an intimate, close relationship with a narcissistic person, the outside world doesn't see it because they show up differently to the outside world. You don't know until you're in an intimate relationship. It's like the Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. The world sees this person one way, but when you're very close with them, you see them completely opposite. The world doesn't see all of the ways that they are truly treating you and how damaging it is. One other tactic that is really, really frustrating is love bombing. Love bombing in the sense that things are moving really, really fast and they are showing extreme love and grandiose actions that it finally feels like, oh my God, this person is so great to me. They're getting me all of these flowers. They're taking me out on all of these dates. They're remembering everything. They want to hang out so much. They are telling me how beautiful I am, how amazing I am. I finally met the man of my dreams. He really sees me. He really loves me. Well, that is a tactic to really hook you in. And it really also shows you where you are not sourcing your own self-love, your self-worth, and your self-confidence. So it feels like such a hit of love and excitement when somebody comes into your life and is finally giving you all of these things. What happens though is once they've hooked you in, then they start changing their behaviors. They might even start showing less affection. They might not be telling you you're as beautiful as they were. They might even start talking to somebody else, and then you feel discarded, you feel unappreciative, and you always want to go back to then the fantasy of how it felt in the beginning. You want to get back to that point where everything was so loving and they were showing you all of this attention, all of this affection, doing all these things for you, and it never goes back to that. That's one of the main reasons why people stay in these relationships, is because they're still holding on to how that person was in the beginning when they were love bombing. But if you knew that they were just love bombing you to hook you in, to reel you in, then you would know that none of that was even genuine or authentic anyways. It eventually was going to stop. It was never from being genuine or being pure. And so some of the ways to prevent doing that is to allow the relationship to have a slow build. Allow it to take some time. Allow yourself to really notice and be discerning. Are they love bombing me, or are they genuinely doing this out of the loving care of their hearts? But you will only know that with time. One last key indication I want to mention about how to know if you're in a narcissistic relationship is notice how they handle conflict. Notice how they handle a tiff or an argument, or if something goes wrong. A lot of times, what my clients say and what I've known in my own experiences, if I looked back in hindsight, the warning signs were there. The way that they handled certain things when things went wrong was not healthy. Notice if they respond with cursing. Notice if they respond with the silent treatment. Notice if they respond with making you feel like you did something wrong. Notice how they respond. Do they go to extreme anger? Do they have a short fuse temper? You want to really notice this. What happens is when people stay in these relationships because they did all the love bombing in the beginning and it felt so good and they know how loving they are, they think that they messed it up and that they did something wrong. And so when the the narcissist reacts in a way that shows a lot of anger, the short fuse temper, the person on the other end feels like, oh my gosh, like I did something to cause this within them. I need to change something. I need to fix them. But in reality, you want to not be with somebody who is reacting that way. A normal, healthy person won't react that way. Again, you will be able to agree to disagree and you will be able to communicate in a healthy way. It's never about what you did, what you didn't do, about being too little or about being too much. That is not the case. Those are key indications that you could be in a narcissistic relationship. So before you even get sucked in and trapped in, hooked into one of these relationships, with the moment somebody disrespects you or doesn't treat you right, or an argument doesn't feel right to you, that is when you can get out of them. Again, this doesn't apply to just normal relationships. This applies to narcissistic relationships. So you want to really hone in and focus in on some of these characteristics. But the thing I'm going to leave you with right now to really be discerning if you're in a narcissistic relationship or a relationship that does not need to go any further, I'll talk about it in the next episode, how to get out of the relationship or how to not get even farther into it, is to really look at and notice how you feel. This person could be saying or doing everything that other people could be thinking are great or there's no issues. You cannot listen to your friends and family when it comes to this. You have to trust yourself and your heart and your gut and the feelings you're feeling in your body. If it doesn't feel right, it's not right. And then it's time to release it, to let it go, to shift the dynamic of it. And I will give you more details all about how to do that. One of the reasons I'm so passionate about teaching on this subject is because I didn't know I was in all of these narcissistic relationships before because this information wasn't out there. I didn't realize until after the fact, and I heard somebody talking about narcissistic relationships where I was like, oh my God, finally it makes sense. This is how I've been feeling, and nobody else understood it or saw it or got it. And so that's why I'm here to bring this information out into the world and to make it common knowledge, especially because so many people in our lives are narcissistic and we don't know how to handle the dynamics. When we are loving ourselves and when we are tapped in and connected to our higher power, we no longer will be attracted to or entertain these narcissistic dynamics. We will not even spend our time entertaining any of it anymore. And that is the whole premise of what I'm here to share, to help empower you to get to that point. So I'm so grateful that you tuned in today. I'm so excited to give you more information. And this can also help you share with other people in your life when you start to notice that they're experiencing some of these things in their relationships, that you can give them more information and help them to understand and get more clear on why they might be going through this, and then teaching them and sharing with them how they can actually get out of the relationship, which we'll cover next week. So I hope you have an amazing rest of the day. I hope that you embody and implement everything that came through. And if you had a breakthrough, please send me a message on Instagram at Onalee Malcolm. But I will talk to you in the next episode. Take care.